All right, guys, welcome back. It's Shay Seeking. And yeah, so I was just sitting here. I was about to try to get some sleep. Um, but I had wanted to, I don't know, something made me want to look into Revelations again. I think it was a clip that came up. And I have watched this video a while back. And it just stood out because it was talking about the bride, right? And we know that we got a whole bunch of things going on right now in the spiritual realm and then in the physical, right? Um, in this dimension and others, right? In this parallel so-called universe that we're in right now. And again, I feel like, you know, again, there's been obstacles and things of that nature. But when it comes to something that's going on, I feel as though there is this separation is bringing back to the four coat of arms again and the four male energies. I think some in the physical and some just of spiritual connections, right? Soul ties, soul mates, whatever. You know, again, are we dealing with things again of our ancestors, right? So, and I think that this is so because some of the things that I read tonight, it has to do with the Ottoman Empire, the Hellenic, right? Energy. We just looked into the thing, like I said, which I believe is speaking of my great great or great 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 grandmother, right? And like I said, it's just the things that I'm talking about. People don't feel comfortable. They don't really understand because they're not seeing it the way that I'm able to see it. So that is that prophetic um, uh, oracle wisdom energy. And I keep repeating those things because I don't know who's new to the channel or whatever, to kind of like overlap these things here because I feel like what's going on, right, is a casting out of someone, right? And it makes me even think about John on the island, right? On the island of Patmos, right? So it makes me think about this energy here, right? It makes me feel like almost like, again, us as vassals of light, right? There's a lot going on. There's a lot of energies and entities and beings on this plane. And I don't know, I'm starting to get this rare feeling with like the shifts and the just me, going through, like I said, it feels like communing with God or walking with source or whatnot, being protected and guided in a sense. But I also think that there is some kind of energy, like I said, with that prophetic energy, with the area, with, excuse me, my divine counterpart, which again, I don't know. Like I said, I can only sit here and I know what I sense with that energy. And you know what I'm saying? I can only know what I sense and what I've sensed over time with the energy. But I know that, again, there's trickery being done to keep me distracted or keep me confused as to which one is this counterpart. And then at the same time, I feel like it's still that energy of it doesn't matter because we have people that are in positions of power now and previously that are being talked about, and also along with these other male entities that are trying to remove something, right? That is supposed to belong to a feminine energy. That this is the throne. It doesn't matter. See, and I feel like because certain people that might be in certain positions and may have certain power, right, in this realm here to manipulate situations, right, and manifest as well, possibly, right. So I feel like I can't help but to think with this isolated energy. I feel okay with the iron dome, but again, this energy. I mean, it could be something that's positive or negative, right? Where I feel like we're going to be talking about metals and irons and dome. And I'm thinking we're talking about the dome or even a staff or a caduce, anything of this nature, right? Okay, so there's a lot that's wrapped up into this. I'm hoping, I didn't really get much sleep last night. My voice is kind of groggy, but I'm hoping that we're going to be able to, see something here, right? So again, I was looking at it and I couldn't even get through 3 minutes of it because then I said, hold on, wait a minute. They're saying 2,000 years, right? So again, on this platform, on this channel, we don't really listen to, I have my own kind of theoretic way of looking at things, right? So again, we're talking about these times, a day to us is different to what it would be for God, and then also, the 1,000 years that I think is missing from the timeline with a lot of these things when we go into BC, AD, um, BCE, all this stuff right here is just to kind of confuse us because we're basically still talking about the same thing. Anytime somebody tell me they know what happened 2,000 years ago, they look at me like I'm crazy because I'm telling you I know, but I'm looking at them like they crazy because how could you know, right? Okay, so again, so it made me just go back to 1821. So that's where we're gonna go. The prophecy again with Esther and Elijah in the book The Spring. I feel like this has something to do with me and that counterpart. And I feel like, I just feel bad because I feel like is he in danger, and why have these people worked so hard to try to confuse the situation and keep us apart in a sense, right? Now, it's another thing if someone doesn't want anything to do with it, because again, just because this stuff is written doesn't mean that it has to happen exactly like this, right? So that's what I'm saying. It's not like I'm just, like I said, a seer, oracle, scryer, whatever. I'm just that person, right? And so it's just, it's like I'm in it, but also, ooh, it's just hard to explain. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and look at a couple of things. Like I said, we decided to just say it's probably 200 years ago. Okay, all right. So again, we're gonna look at this because again, we did the video on George Washington and his bronze shoes or boots. The woolly hair, we did match it up with scripture or whatever as best as possible to see what we can. I bet you we can find more if we go back into it, whatever. Double-edged sword. There was another, I don't know if it was a Spanish military man or something that was in that video that we talked about as well. I just try to give little bits and pieces in case it sparks thought in someone else to do something more with it. Okay. So again, I noticed that a couple of interesting things happened then, right? And then again, if we go to 1821 and then we go to Revelation 6 and 21, there were some things that happened in the 6th month of the 21st year. Okay. So again, we're kind of getting there. I think this is just my thinking, the way I see things, right? So it's saying this is the year the Columbian College was founded. Washington, D.C. was a watery, okay, underwhelming capital city in in United States, was striking an uneasy and ultimately untenable compromise on slavery. Now again, it was watery, right? Now we know Washington means to wash something. Wash means like Washington, I believe when I looked it up, it meant something about washing something or making something clean, right? Possibly, right? Okay. So again, also thinking about this is talking about also, like I told you, prior to these particular people coming here at these times, or prior to these times, there were dark-skinned so-called black people here that were Indians in this land, and we don't talk about that in the story because it doesn't fit the narrative. But there are many people that know this. So again, I think there were some important things that happened with Mexico, right? And the Moshe people, right? And again, those were also dark-skinned people. Now again, today, these could be a mix of people. It could be anybody. It could be somebody with red hair. It could be, I'm saying, in competition with or whatever. But I'm just saying, we're talking about lineage here. So again, DNA is mixed. Things have been done, and that's just what it is right now. Okay. So again, this is very important to notice so we can know people's, we can look at the narrative a little bit. I mean, look at the storyline a little bit better, and we can see who may be, again, people that may be with you and people that may be against you. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay. So it's about looking at the bigger picture, right? Because it's not just about us. It's about, what's going on in the world right now. All right. But again, watery makes me think that we're talking maritime. We're talking about a lot of people from the waters were coming in. Like I've already stated, that most of the people in these positions of power that are taking over these, I know so-called African Americans, right? Which is a misnomer, but we're just going to use it because that's what people are going to automatically, that's what resonates with people, right? But so-called Americans or Indians, right? Um, I feel like I said, I feel like this is talking about, you know, that particular energy. Like, and what I talk about here is that Washington now is filled with people that are probably not ADOS related or prior to when it comes to people of color. Now, I'm not speaking, and this is not division for division purposes. This is just about making a point. Okay. I can't tell you when it comes to other people that are so-called Caucasian or so-called white. Okay. But what I'm saying when it comes to people of color, again, like we're having people from different countries come in right now and pour in with this flood. Again, there's a flood. So again, we probably should go back and around this time and see if there was a flood of people or influx of people coming in around that time. Because again, it's the same thing. And they didn't have to be people that looked a certain way. I'm just saying, any flood of people coming from another country to the Americas, like I said, it's a flood. All right. So again, this is what I'm talking about. And then usually who gets lost in the sauce? The true origines that were here already. Because again, that this was something that was hidden, that was not really talked about. You thought at this point in time that you were from Africa. Here in the Americas, the education system taught us that narrative, and that's it, right? So what I'm telling you is I'm dealing with generational energy here, right? And it irritates me because when I do these storylines, I almost feel like somebody is riding my coattail and taking this information and possibly passing it on a larger platform, right? And some people may even take the information and pass it on as their own information. Because at this point in time, I have my back against the wall. I feel like the world is on my shoulders. And again, I have to see things I don't like to be I'm not a negative person at all. You know what I'm saying? And I don't like to have to be the one, the messenger or the bearer of bad news. But again, I'm here for this particular thing, I feel. And that's just what I do. Okay. So again, the United States was striking in unease. Okay. So again, let's keep going down here. A compromise on slavery. Again, here we are, again, saying still, let my people go in a sense, right? That Moses energy is here. Okay. Bring them out the pit, right? Level the playing field, even things out. There should not be any other or dilute energy going on in this construct, this system. Let them out, right? That's what we're saying. So it was also a year of revolution. How about I say revelation? Same damn thing, okay? That altered the world landscape as much as Latin America waged independence war against the Greeks. And the Greeks rebelled against the Ottoman Empire. Again, we are talking about the energy. What's going on with Florida right now? Matter of fact, what did we just bring up earlier with the Escambia or whatever, Florida, and then I said something about the Seminoles and Moses, right? The Black Moses, right? So-called of the southeast area, Seminole Indians, I think it was, right? And then you also have right above that the Carolinas, right? Okay, so again, and then the Ottoman Empire. I'm not exactly sure where I can pinpoint that, but that's just what I'm seeing here. Okay. Because at some point in time, they were separating the so-called the Moorish and other darker skinned people that were coming over away from the so-called American Aborigines. Or the real Origines or whatever. They were legally through different terms and writings, they were separating them. Okay. But the people that were coming in from different places, they had freedom. Those people that were here did not. The Origines did not. So that's what I'm trying to say. We have to get the boot off the necks of the Americans. Period. And we have to stop in order for them to give something to so-called ADOS or so-called reparations or something to so-called black people who are really the American Indians, most of you, right? They always have to spread it out amongst, let a lot of people in, or also distribute it to other people first and not where it should be going. It makes no sense at all. It's not about racism. It's about the truth. And that's just what it is. All right. So again, we're repeating this story, okay? Altered the world landscape as much as Latin American waged independent wars on, okay? All right. We examine the landmark events that continue to affect the world we live in 200 years later. Okay. Again, now now this ain't no damn 2,000 years later, but this is 200 years later. And that's what we're talking about. And the prophecy that I'm speaking of, that I've had revelations about, and I have witnessed things in my own life here that have happened, right? That have to do with this prophecy. All right. With my so-called divine counterpart. But again, someone has been throwing a wrench into the game. And now there is confusion ever since the Bagram thing and all of these things. There has been something going on. All right. So again, let's see, outnumbered districts. Again, you guys can look this up if you want. I'm just skimming through. Listen here, dissatisfying already low expectations for the city. So again, excuse me, they're saying low expectations. What are they saying about Biden right now? Okay, what are people probably even saying about me right now? I mean, again, low expectations or whatever. I mean, I'm just saying, we just talking about the energy here, okay? Washington was built for 1 million residents, but had just 13,000, he wrote, to be the capital of such a large city. Washington lies much near the sea, okay? So again, they mentioned again about water, and then now they're saying by the sea, right? The prior year, President James Monroe and Marquise de Lafayette, okay, joined celebrants at the first commencement of Columbian College, okay. Let's see. They changed the name to George Washington. Okay. Let's see. Outnumbered houses literally just as few years after the British burnt government buildings, okay, including the Capitol and the president's home, and Washington looked very different then. Now, again, we did have so-called all these things that were going on with these so-called riots and things like this, and we had a lot of stuff, damaged, people burning down, and terrorizing, you know, police buildings. And I know that the people, what I'm saying, within the community gonna get upset when they hear me saying these things or whatever. But again, how will our children go back to if this happened again and know about what happened if everything is burned the hell down? All right. Many people gonna say burn it. Again, I don't look at it like that. Okay. All right. So again, the president's home. All right. Let's see the partition of the portion. Look at y'all. I need to go to sleep. I can't even keep my eyes open. All right. Of the Constitution Avenue hug the National Mall. All right. The Potomac River. The river would be dredged and reclaimed as land. Okay. Now holding Lincoln Memorial and the tidal basin. Because I think I was reading something about the tides or something that come in within that area too. And something about the tides change with whatever. I don't know. It was making me think about something spiritual. Maybe somebody knows more about that lives in that area. But it did make me think about something more spiritual. And I wanted to go back to it. Okay. Let's see. Education institution presented initially. Contrast, Jesuit affiliated Georgetown, founded in 1789, not only the district of the cusp of change in 1821, but was a fledgling country. Okay, so again, I'm just reading through. All right, so again, August 10th, Missouri became the Union of 24th, and then westernmost state as large as the agreement, the Missouri Compromise. Okay, so some kind of compromise went on here. Arkansas, all right, Maine, Missouri. The War of 1812 had gone poorly for the nation. Oh my goodness, my throat. And then the nation, and particularly Washington. Okay. Now, again, we did have the insurrection. Again, I don't know, what's going on there right now. The ashes of great buildings. So again, that's, I don't know why ashes just made me think about the whole thing in Japan. I think there's some kind of thing erupted or something and shot out some ashes in the sky, because it ended a disastrous war. The Treaty of, is it Gent, or, yeah, maybe, in December, felt like a victory for the nation, although it basically decided nothing. All right. A financial panic. All right. Recession or depression, in today's parlance, broke out in 1819, and bitter negotiations led up to 1820 compromise, which politicized slavery in the and then unparalleled manner. Now, you know what? We're gonna just stop there, okay? And we're gonna go to the Bible. But anyways, and we'll come back to another timeline that I wanted to look at with, pictures and stuff like that. So again, this makes me think about the fact that it feels like this is, you have to look at, when we look at things like slavery, you have to look at it. What would they have called slavery 100 years ago? What about 100 years before that? What about 500 years before that? What about now? It will be a social credit system. And it will also be, right? It would be them using something like an antidote in order to control. It'll be about control, first of all, okay? Because that's what it looks like first, right? Somebody coming in, getting a grips on something, right? And then they can do whatever they want, right? Unfortunately, it's normally not the original people of the land. It's not even the Native Americans, right? It is the people that came, the first generations of people that came here from different countries that are obtaining and getting the rights to this land, right? And again, I feel like this divine masculine, there's something else that tells me something about, that gives me old God energy. I mean, I just feel like that. And I don't look at people's skin color. It's not even about that for me. It's about energy. The balance, okay, to create a new state, Maine, to balance the slave and free states. Let's see. Compromise forged, a sense of relief ensued, but there were also the first predictions. So predictions are kind of like prophetic energy. The nations was on the path to a civil war, period. Overall, the 1820s, which would have been 2020 for us, were devastating for African Americans and indigenous people. I didn't even read this first. Says Richard Boyles, or whatever his name is, okay? No disrespect. Slavery extended westward, all right, and southward, okay? And the total number of enslaved people rose. Federal policy supported taking native land, culminating in the 1830 Indian Removal Act. Oh, so we are in Exodus energy here. Although northern states gradually sunset slavery, starting in 1780, anti-black riots occurred in northern cities like Minnesota under the guise of who? Okay. Northern cities in the 1820s and 1830, northern public schools, transportation, all the shit they talking about all over again, again and again and again, same old stuff. Work in neighborhoods remains segregated. Okay. According to Boyles, I mean, that ain't never changed really. He shows that northern protest churches were interracial yet segregated in the 18th century. This is why they have chosen to, again, pick on the chosen. Okay. And they have again put that noose around the neck, or which means the platforms or the voices of the people that would be proclaiming these things. When black participation in the predominantly white churches swiftly declined, all right, between 1820 and 40, again, because some things remain unsaid, I think. Okay. This decline, but notice we use black. We didn't use African American indigenous, right? Okay. So again, which could either mean bleak or bleach or white, if you really think about it, right? Responsibility for young people and the superiority of Greek literature. Okay, hold on. Okay, so swift decline. Okay, race relations. In the rest of the North society, Boyle says, after 2 centuries of oppression of African Americans and Native Americans continues until we can collectively and honestly address the history of slavery, segregation, and land thefts, land grabs, so on and so forth. So you mad at me for bringing up something about a patent, right? When King already told us about something under the guise of patents when he said that they gave away the land. It's still not giving it back to the rightful owners. These are still people that would have ties to their fathers of the 7 nations of the G7. And this is again what it would be splitting up the pieces of the pie. Structural inequalities will persist in our society along racial lines. Now, again, this is just talking about, again, we are at a time, the chosen are here. They are keeping us away from doing what we're supposed to be doing by trying to target us and trying to kill you off and trying to get rid of you. Again, there will be no voice. There's no voices talking about this crime because it is the real American Indians, the real Aboriginal people here that are being slaughtered. Whether it's by them or militia or we're talking purge, doesn't matter. There's no real cover stories on these things. No one is out there really in the streets anymore. You already know what's going on. So they could try to say I'm doing this and that and try to, try to use those scare tactics. But I'm not. Listen. I'm walking on the motherfucking water. So at this point in time, it's just for me, just delivering this message the best way I know how. And we ain't going to be dealing with nobody that's politically correct or nobody that have been trained or again in the education system. We'd already looked at that, re-examined it, and then did what we had to do. The information is already within for me. And what they're doing is targeting. I feel like they're targeting me, and they're targeting again the other counterpart. And they're turning people away from those people so that they can, or push another narrative. Again, it may be one party might be involved. I don't know. And they just want to keep me out because they have other plans. I don't know. But I'm not giving up I'm just not giving my power to anyone. I'm not allowed to. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm not allowed to give up. I'm not allowed to turn away. I'm not allowed to not talk about something because it doesn't feel comfortable for people. I don't give a damn what people think. People didn't give a damn when people did what they've been doing to me. So why would I care? None of that matters to me. This is not about race. This is not about any of that other stuff that people is talking about that's so silly to me. It's talking about the truth. Anytime I think about, I don't know if it's Napoleon or another guy. Wait, what is that? 1820? What was it? 1821? When was the Louisiana Purchase? I don't know why I think of him as a Judas Issacrat or whatever the name, okay? Who had a love-hate relationship with the United States for his role in the French territory and global war. This person died, right? But Napoleon was drawn to George Washington, all right? Stomach. Washington's death, 1799. All right, so again, here we go back to the whole energy with Washington, right? So again, I feel as above, so below. Again, when I think about society, I think the same thing. Some of us are commoners, peasants, and servants, and some of these people are more in the merchants and landowner kind of economic energy. And then again, the priest and the educators, or those, that would be in those high positions. And then, those that are in, the political arena. All right. But I think that the red dragon, like I said, represents something. And I think this Helena, all right, was about to here. You know what? I'm gonna stop right here and give me something to drink. Because my throat is really. And then we'll come back and see the correlations, what I feel have to do with this, why I have something to do with it. And again, like I said, the other people that I feel may be like involved or whatever. All right. So again, I'll be back.